apart from those big issues, it's all looking good. Well, everybody, welcome. We are back here at the development block, and we're still plodding away here working on the headers. Got a few other bits and pieces going on. A couple of little things have happened this morning. I hadn't picked up the camera yet, so we're just working on header number 1, pulling the grain pan out. So that's the bit, if we poke in here behind JD and not scare him too much.
Scare me?
Yeah. So I got the grain pan unbolted, and with the come along there we just pulled it back a bit to be able to get to the rubbers, which Johnny's over the other side working on. But yeah, there's little rubber seals that stop the grain from falling down, which is kind of important. So that's going on. We're all a bit happy at the minute because Johnny's been fixing the seat bases on both headers. I think Brad and Phil have had a bit too much pudding, and the seat bases have cracked out. So we got some fiberglass kits. Even though the seat bases are plastic, we've just reinforced it with a bit of metal and fiberglass. So he's just waiting for that to dry. So that's them there. Got some metal bracing in a few different spots, pop riveted and then covered with fiberglass, so that should fix that. So yeah, both of them were cracked pretty well in the same spot. So, and funny thing is I think you'd be able to get plenty of the grey ones, but the blue seats, apparently there's only one in the world. It's in, was it Minnesota? No, one of the states in the US starting with M. And yeah, only one, and about $500. So I figured a $50 fiberglass kit is probably a good investment. So that's what's happening there. We have found, oh yeah, this isn't good. We have found an issue with header number 2 that none of us knew about until JD just pulled the guard off, and we're a bit hesitant to pull it apart too much more. We're a bit happier, you know, what do they say, ignorance is bliss. But you might be able to see that there is not straight. It should be the same as that bottom one. That pin goes through. That is actually sheared completely off. And yeah, not sure how far the damage goes. Someone's obviously trying to get on me. That's what it should look like there. And the pin goes through. So we've got to pull a feeder house off this to sort that out. But what I'm currently going to do on header 1 here is sit on the very comfy seat here, and we've got the little membrane here that goes in the handpiece, because on the which one is it, that one, they're actually a 2-stage switch for the comb up and down, so you can just go slow or a sort of a quick drop function. So that sort of just lost its second stage a bit. It's a bit hard to tell the difference. So I'm going to pull this all apart and put the membrane in, and we'll just see if that works. Otherwise, it's like a whole new handpiece, which is what we did on the other header. And I think they're like $1,500 or a couple of grand. So we'll don't really want to do that. So if this little membrane can do it for us, that's the way we're going to go. Well, guys, we actually snuck off and had lunch, but what is happening here, I got the thing pulled apart, and where the membrane goes here, there is, it looks like that's what the issue was. This is the old one. You can see there, it's been worn, oh, good on me. It's been worn down fairly well, right there and there. So they're the two buttons for the comb up and down. So yeah, the new one obviously isn't worn. So I've got that in there, but these two things over here, and I'm guessing from factory, these are little bits of epoxy or something that is stuck to the switches there, and because they fell off and I don't have super glue on me, I just got some of that that epoxy metal stuff that you knead together, that stick, and you just cut a bit off and mix it together with your fingers. So yeah, put that on there, and we'll let that dry, and yeah, put that back on, and hopefully we've got our second stage for the comb up and down back, which is very important because you really need to lift the comb up and down quick on contour banks. So it's pretty difficult to do, to do contours without that. So hopefully that's all sorted. Now there's been some more developments. I think we're finding more and more rock damage with the headers, or header 1. So I don't remember there being any events of hitting rocks, but it could be old injuries that have worn out and exhibiting themselves now. We're not sure. So anyway, we're just going to probably have to pull the feeder house off both headers. Obviously the big issue with that one, but yeah, on header number 1 here we'll have to get in there and check out all the rotor and see what panels might be compromised. So yeah, the joys of rocks. So we'll see how we go. Well, just before knock-off time, we're going to have a quick crack at whipping this feeder house off. Just so, yeah, we'd really need to assess what's going on up there, and there's nothing like getting your eyeballs in there rather than trying to feel around to see where the damage is. And that way we can just know for sure what we need to order, and yeah, just triple check that everything's okay. It's not actually that difficult to pull these feeder houses off. So yeah, just due diligence. I think it'll be good to check it. So I'll stick yours over here, I reckon. That's an expensive camera mount. Right, well, that is one feeder house off. We still have to do it to that one at some stage, but let's just keep it one at a time. Now we're just here trying to see exactly where the banging and clanging's coming from, but we have got a bit of damage something here, which has popped that up a bit, which is a potential culprit, but we're not sure yet. Yeah, so anyway, we'll come back and see exactly what we can find. It's a bit dark up there, but there's nothing obvious sticking out to us just yet. But we'll keep the search up tomorrow. Well, we're back and enjoying the sun at the minute. Now, a couple of things to update. We got the seats for the headers. Johnny's finished them. They're just drying. Yeah, got the bits of metal to strengthen that, and then yeah, that's all gone nice and hard, and then he'll tidy it up once that's hard, and they should be right to go in. I've got a parts list that I'm waiting for a call back from the dealer for the headers, but we have found some more issues, which is, you know, typical. But because this header, this here has all broken and bent and about to fall off basically, which is a big problem, we thought we better check this one. And yes, sure enough, all that's separated and all up in here, and we've got a crack just there starting, so this one's doing the same thing. So I reckon part of what's causing that is with, yeah, just all the contours and different things. We've got the header fronts, there's a fair bit of movement in the adapter plate here, so that's all on springs and that moves. But yeah, with the ends, if they're skidding along the ground and flexing and then going up and down past where they actually can, it's putting all that force and transferring it back through to those two mounting points. So just, yeah, fatigue over time obviously. So we've got that. We've got a couple of plates to order. Where's the other one? That one, yeah, that's got a hole in it, a wear plate that's next to the rotor. I've got a new seat coming for this quad. Uncle Ian's put a few tubs to carry bits and pieces around on. But yeah, we've got a new seat coming for that because it's not very pleasant if it's out in the rain and then you go to try and drive it and it's a very, very wet bottom. Apart from those big issues, it's all looking good. Well guys, I've done a big parts order. As is, it's just a bit of a gamble really, because you do a parts order and you're like, some things are about as much as you'd expect them to be and some things are wildly more than you think and some are cheaper, so it's just a bit of pot luck. But what I will do and show you guys is, it was quite a while ago actually, it was the end of last harvest, we had to buy a new sieve control actuator, which is this thing here. So that sits at the back of the header there and it adjusts the sieves, which allows more or less material to fall through, and that's how it separates the grain from the chaff and all of that. So, but what happened was it kept saying it was out of range, or it just was out of, you know, it wasn't happy. What the computer thought was happening to what was actually happening wasn't lining up. Turns out that it was, I had my suspicions but tested it, and this potentiometer here, that's actually what tells the computer where the actuator is, and that's basically what the whole system runs off to know where the sieves are at. But you'd turn that actuator and there'd be a dead spot in it, so you'd turn it and then it'd drop out and then it wouldn't know where it was and all of that. So anyway, long story short, or a long story long as it's turning out to be, this here, I can't remember how much these were. I think they're about $1,000 for this whole actuator. And we just bought a new one because we needed it. And yeah, we're in the middle of harvest obviously. But what I did is I actually looked and pulled it out of another one, I think, and got the numbers on the back of the potentiometer and then looked up the specs and ordered just the potentiometer. So this was like $50 maybe, I can't remember. But I got two of these and I fit one to one that was, I think it might have been on that header, and this one was the old one from Phil's header number one. And yeah, I just haven't got around to putting this in yet. So basically all it is you have to undo a couple of screws there, pull that out, replace the potentiometer and solder, cut the heat shrink off there and solder on those wires to the terminals here. And you just sort of make sure you turn the potentiometer all one way and then all the other way, so you know whereabouts the travel is. Otherwise, if that happens to bottom out the potentiometer or spin past what the potentiometer can actually handle, then you can bust it. So you've got to be a little bit careful doing that. But this way it takes about half an hour and say $50 worth of potentiometer. So let's just say, you know, I mean, I'd love to say my labour's worth $100, but let's just say $100 to get that all fixed and ready to go as a spare unit, as opposed to $1,000. So it's yeah, it's very much worth doing, particularly just coming into harvest. So if we do have an issue, we can quickly just whack that in and go for it. So yeah, anyway, that's my job at the minute. So we will, yeah, well, hopefully I don't break the wires too many times and stuff it up, but we'll see how we go. so we got that done. I've just whacked it in there. That's one of the containers for the spare parts. So yeah, we're just going to have to wait for a few parts. What we'll probably try and do this afternoon is we'll probably pull the feeder house off this header here, and just so we know exactly what we're dealing with in regards to those mounts cracking out. I suspect it's going to be a lot worse than what we can see. It looks like that's all bent in under there. The whole kit and caboodle is torn away, so yeah, that's going to be fun. What are you up to, JD?
I'm going to cut the plate out because it's...
You're going to cut the plate out?
Yeah, because there's a bit of rock damage that's now catching the rotor.
Ah, you're not going to cut the rotor out?
No, just going to cut the plate.
So that's the that's where those side plates, they're like a wear plate you can replace there. Yeah, he's just trying to get that out, but it's a bit wedged in there at the minute.
Yeah, it's
got
damage on this back end,
well,
so it's catching the rotor.
I'm not sure which was the really expensive one, so you sure you can't get it out without cutting it? What if I spin the rotor?
It's touching the... No, you can spin the rotor, but it's grabbed on.
We'll just give it a bit of a fiddle before you cut it, because one of them was $450, and they're the exact same part. They're just mirrored. One was like $150, and one was $450. So I don't understand that. Right, it's the next day. I actually had to load a truck, and we're not working on the headers today, but I came here to pick up the camera which I left here. So that's always exciting. But then I realised I don't think I filmed any of... We pulled the feet and I also realised I don't think I filmed any of pulling the header front off this feeder house. So this one's much the same. It's probably not as bad as we thought. I mean, that's pretty bad, I know, but we don't have any cracking down here or up here, or there's no damage on this side yet that we've found. So it's not actually as bad as we first thought, but I still don't know how we're quite going to fix that. And also we pulled the header seat right out of this one because there was something not quite right. It was banging and clanging, and we did find, because Brad usually just runs it on the stoppers, it doesn't, because of his, how shall we say, his legs are a bit short on one end, and this here's happened. So that there has broken off, and that's where the roller sits, so the strut that mounts to that isn't attached to anything. And a new seat base is like $2,000 and very hard to get. And the problem is we could probably weld that in there, but there's not much room to strengthen it for where the gas strut needs to go. And then I think it's just going to break again. So we may have to even grind that out and machine a new shaft there and just mount that and make up our own, just so it doesn't happen. So that's the other update. Yeah, it's almost the weekend, so it might be the last weekend before the real bosses get back, so I'm just going to enjoy myself. Thanks again for watching, guys. We'll leave it there, and hope you enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it, just hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you in the next one.